Here's a short video on how to use the distributive property and the idea of combining like terms to simplify expressions. I'm going to start with the example up top, and to simplify this I still have to follow my same order of operations that we use in other expressions. So that means that multiplication is going to come before addition and subtraction. When a 3 or any value is touching parentheses, that means that we're multiplying, and the way I multiply value outside of parentheses by the multiple values inside is by using my distributive property. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, and I'm going to bring down these other two terms, so I didn't do anything with them yet. Now that my multiplication has been taken care of, I can do the adding and subtracting, or in other words, the combining of like terms. I know that 3x and negative 4x are like terms because they both have an x, and then negative 12 and positive 5 are like terms, and those are what we call constants. Numbers that don't have variables next to them are called constants. So I like to draw a little table to divide them into my two groups. I've got my x terms, which would be 3x and negative 4x. I always got to include the sign in front of them. And then my constants are negative 12 and 5. From here, I'm just going to combine my like terms. 3x and negative 4x will add to make negative 1x, or in other words, negative x. And negative 12 and 5 make a negative 7. So I can in other words, I can simplify this original expression up top, and once I'm completely done simplifying it, I have negative 1x, or in other words, negative x, minus 7. Let's look at the next example. This one's a little bit more difficult. Instead of having the parentheses out in front, it's in the middle, but it's still the same idea. This multiplication has to take place before the addition and subtraction, or in other words, the combining like terms takes place. So if I want to distribute this 5, I always want to include the sign in front of it. Here, in our previous example, the 3 was positive, so I didn't have to worry about it. But here, I'm going to have to distribute a negative 5. So I'm going to distribute that in, and negative 5 times z is negative 5z. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. And I'm going to bring down my negative 8z. And I'm going to bring down my 3x from there. Now it looks like I actually have 3 different types of terms. I have x terms, I have z terms, and then I have one constant. So my table now, instead of having 2 columns, is going to have 3. I have x terms, z terms, and constants. My x term, only one of those is 3x. My z term is negative 5z and negative 8z. And my constant is just negative 10. I don't have anything to combine 3x with, so that's going to be part of my answer. Negative 5z and negative 8z, if you know your integer operations, that's going to be negative 13z. And then my negative 10 has nothing to combine with, so that's going to be by itself. So if I simplify this expression, I end up here. A couple things to remember when you're solving problems like this where you're using the distributive property and combining like terms is that you have to do the distribution first, because that happens before the addition and subtraction in your order of operations. And then, like I said, I like to draw my table to keep my terms separate. One of the more common mistakes is messing up on integer operations right here. And so as long as you keep some of those ideas together, you should be fine on these problems.